Welcome back to the channel. On today's video, I've been called out to a customer's house because they've got some low water pressure issues. So I'm going to be fitting something to hopefully sort that. Now on this street, the water main comes from all the way at the top, comes all the way down, and it divides into all these houses, and the one that I'm working on is the last on the road. Now they've actually got a water leak, so you can see all these patches in the floor where they've been cutting it up trying to find out a water leak, but every time that they actually cut it and do something with it, it just bursts in a different place. So because this is a private road, if to get this sorted, the customer will have to dig it all up and run a whole new pipe. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to fit something which will solve the issue, and that is a power tank. So we're going to be fitting a big tank like this, which is 200 litres of water, and then with a variable speed pump we can set it to 3 bar and constantly deliver the house with exactly what we want. The only problem is that we haven't really got much space to fit it, so the ideal location is this spot over here. Gonna have to move this radiator, tuck them either over this way or swap them out for a smaller one at a later date, and the water main comes up in this tiny little cupboard. So the only two pipes that I need to have to worry about with a power tank is the inlet, which is fed from a little ball valve, and also a overflow. So the overflow is going to be the trickiest thing, as these walls, they're pretty thick. And like I said, I've got a tiny little void to work with. So yeah, we're going to see how we get on with that. So first things first, drain the central heating down and remove this radiator, and either cap the pipes off and deal with it at a later date, because obviously it's summer, we don't really need the heating. And yeah, give us a bit more space for the power tank to go in. So let's put you down, let's get plumbing. So with the radiator out of place, let's put the power tank in and have a little look and see exactly where we need to get this overflow pipe out of. So I've put a 32mm fitting in the bottom of this like ton dish, and then I want to give a little bit of leeway between the elbow and the fitting, just in case I'm a little bit too high or a little bit too low. I've got a little bit of gap to be able to cut my pipe to. So I'm going to gauge about this high, might even go a little bit lower, and then my only fixed point outside is this gas pipe going through the wall. So what I've done is I've laid up my laser level up in the centre of that, and then I've got a feeling it's going to be hard to get this perfect because I've got this wall going this way and then this wall is sort of going a little more that way. So what I'm thinking is give myself a little bit of gap distance here so then I can just come through and elbow back in. So what I'm going to do is give a little measurement, and we're going to be roughly about here-ish. And center of that is roughly about 450 that way, and then we also need to gain our height. So using this gas point as a reference again, we'll just measure from the center of here down to my mark, and that should be able to be enough to cross-reference outside. About 660. So this is the gas point on the inside. So we're going 450 across, which is about here, and 660 down. So my mark is actually about here. I think it's come up to about this section here on this brick now. This brick and this wall is massive. So yeah, I don't know if I want to go straight through that brick. I might actually bring them over this way. Just means I have to bring the elbow on the opposite side more towards the tank. But hopefully, I think if we go through here, we might have more of an easier time drilling, especially not going through this one to start with. So I might go about here. So that went in like pretty easy. Let's just make sure that we are where we are on the inside. Okay, that's not. It's a little bit far over than what I would have expected. Obviously the core never goes in that easy as a pilot. Pilot's probably found little gaps in the wall, little crevices, and probably gone a little bit over, so that's why I'm drilling at a little bit of an angle and try and kick them over a little bit more. Okay, so that is the waste pipe through the first section. I'm going to have to just try and marry it up with this one because my drill bits aren't long enough. So yeah, see how that goes. So I've gave a little measurement on the inside of the void, and this is where I think it is. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a little pilot, and if I'm out, then at least I've got that little wiggle room of the width of the core hole to shift them over a little bit. So that was the first hole, and as you can see I'm close, but not perfect, so I've got enough room to lift them up now. I don't know, 25 mil? So that looks a bit more like it, so right in the middle of the pipe now. I think that's pretty much good to go. So that's all the connections on the power tank done on the top. So we have the expansion vessel with the T, and for the outlet, I think we're just going to go straight out through the wall. And then for the inlet, we have this ball valve connection. So I think I'm going to come out this way, across and through the wall, hopefully avoiding access into the ton dish. And because we are moving this aqua bion to be on the inlet to help protect from limescale, I'm going to have to lower this stop tap all the way down. I've got a feeling that I might cut it here, fit an actual brand new one just to, future proof. And then we have to fit a bypass kit all in this section. The walls are pretty shoddy, so clipping on the walls is going to be a nightmare. And then, I'm going to have to drill through this and tuck it round. And I don't know what to do about this yet, but because this has a little bit of flex, we might actually install some smart press just to give the pipework somewhere to go in case we've got vibration issues. We have put a mat on the floor, so that should take that up. And then the last job will be to connect the overflow up, which is pretty simple. So let's put you down, and let's get plumbing. So that's all the old pipework cut out from the new stop tap up it to the top. And I'm going to have to install new pipework, and I'm thinking of having the stop tap here, T, drain point, new aqua bion, because the last one has been in for 7 years. And then the first T will go to the power tank with a bypass. So this is a double check valve and isolator in one, just reduces space here. And then the outlet of the power tank will come back round here and to the rest of the house. So I'm going to pre-solder this one, and this one out of place, just to make things a little bit easier. So that's that section of pipework all done. We got a new water main, drain off, aquabion, water conditioner, and then we have a tee off to go to the power tank inlet, bypass, double check valve, filling loop, and then the outlet from the power tank to the rest of the house. So with that all in, it's time to then just connect A to B. So we got the feeds from the power tank to get through the wall, and also the inlet to go in, and then just a little finishing off on the waste. So let's crack on. So with the power tank in its final position, I'm going to be installing it with MLCP pipe because the head has got a little bit of flex in it. What we don't want to do is put stress on the joints, so this should give a little bit of rigidity. Now, this stuff is basically like plastic pipe on steroids, as it has a metal barrier on the inside. It allows us to bend and hold position, but to do the joints up, we're going to be using a press gun. So we've got some Vega fittings, so we've got transition sockets to get to copper press. Going to pre-make these up so I can chuck them in there. I'm most probably going to have to press in this section after getting the pipe through the wall, and then yeah, get them up onto the valves. For the pressing, we're going to be using my rigid 251 press tool, copper side, V15 jaws, and for the MLCP, it's a 16 millimeters. So let's put you down and let's get plumbing. So that's the final connection done on the tank, the overflow, and it's time to actually fill it up. So we just turn on this side of the bypass, this side is off. We just wait for the power tank to stop filling. It's about now. And you can see it's just fed from a ball valve. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you before we actually turn the power on is what the shower pressure is like, because this is what they mainly use. They haven't got a bath or anything like that. And we'll just go ahead and turn the shower on. And as you can see, this is all they get out of the shower, which is pretty poor. And like I said at the start of the video, because this house has actually got a shared water main on that street, if there's any other house that opens up while this one is, what it would do is this one will basically take the hit. So the other ones take priority as their first. This is the last one, so this shower literally just goes beep and just shuts off. So we'll turn the power tanker on now, and hopefully it should be a much improvement. And in the future, if anybody decides to run their showers on the other houses, shouldn't be affected, because in theory this is a completely separate water source. So we'll just shut off the bypass, which is originally feeding the house with its original pressure, and open up the outlet. So when we turn the pump on, it's got somewhere to go. We'll flip the switch, and that should send this alive. So it's currently set to 4 bar, and what you can do is you can set the right pressure. So if you want to go 2, 3, 4, you get the idea. It goes all the way up to 9. So let's run the shower and hopefully we see an improvement. So we're going to set them at 4 hot, as this is going to be the worst it's going to be. And look at that. Much better. Now, because this system runs on a combi, you've got a 15mm feed technically feeding the whole house. It's not going to be perfect. The boiler might have a scaled up plate heat exchanger, so that could be a factor, but I'll show you exactly what it's like on the cold now. So yeah, that is full stick from the cold water side, but much improvement on the hot as well. So hopefully that gives you a good view on how well these power tanks work. And I'm just going to give you a bit of overview on the whole system, what we did on the video. So we put a new stop tap in, drain point, aqua bion. So this is in theory protecting this from limescale. And we have our inlet feed. So this comes down in MLCP, 4 bends sleeved either side of the brickwork, and an MLCP connection into a tap connector on here. That's got a nice flat face on it. And then we have our bypass kit with a double check valve. So this is a part of a filling loop that I used. Just make sure that this is a little bit more squished in size. Outlet, isolation, and then MLCP pipe bent again, all in one piece. And that goes through the wall and connects back up into our T-section on the top of the pump. The overflow comes out this ton dish. Down through this wall, I've sealed up on the inside, and on the outside I'll just show you what it looks like. So this is the outlet of the pipe here, then terminates down into the ground and sealed up on the outside, blending into the brickwork. So that's me all done on this job at the moment. I'm going to wait for the customer to build some sort of cupboard around the power tank, and I've told them that they need access from the front and the side for cleaning. When the wall's done, I can come back and fit a new radiator. Now I've extended my copper pipe into roughly a decent area. And yeah, this job was a bit of a nightmare working in and out of this cupboard. Access was a little bit tight, especially trying to get the cameras up to show you. But hopefully it's given you a little insight on how to fit a power tank and also get over a problem. So if you've got bad water main issues, pressure drops, flow rates and stuff like that, a power tank is a really good option, as it cuts your supply off from everybody else. Once this tank is full up with water, depending on what literage you want, that pump is fully adequate to deliver everything that you need in your house. So if you liked today's plumbing video, please give it a like, drop a comment down below, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you on the next one.